Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Luis Galilei. Luis Galilei, how the hell are you?
I'm doing well, baby.
Oh, good.
I'm doing well.
Let everybody know where they can see you do stand-up comedy on stage in New York City and where they can find you online.
Oh, you can find me online at Luis Galilei on everything, LuisGalilei, and you can see me do stand-up at several different shows that I produce.
Okay, yeah. Where are you producing shows these days? Like, what kind of monthly shows are you producing?
So there's a Wednesday weekly at a little bar in the East Village called Solas Bar.
Oh, cool.
Apparently, like, people have done shows there for a while, but it's always like, you know, a couple other comics have done shows there, but it's in the upstairs. It's East Village. Then a Sunday weekly at the Bean, believe it or not.
The coffee shop?
The coffee shop.
And you just had cold brew before you got here?
Yeah, I just had cold brew because I wanted to hum on the podcast.
He's going to be bouncing off our padded walls.
Yeah. And then a bi-weekly in Brooklyn in a speakeasy.
Oh, my Lord.
It's called Evil Olive Pizzeria, but then you walk through a refrigerator door, and it's a speakeasy, straight up. And then we have comedy there bi-weekly.
Is bi-weekly every other week?
Every other week,
okay.
Yeah. I don't know why we say bi-weekly. We could just say every other week or twice a month.
I start thinking it's twice a week, but I guess it's every other week. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that is so sweet that you almost have three, like certain weeks you will have 3 weekly shows.
Yeah.
I mean, like 3, because I guess on the bye week, on every other week, you're going to have 3 shows that week, and these are regular things. Wow. How do you have such hustle?
Because I really want it.
Yeah,
it's just
I
like
guess
very simple. A lot of people ask me that, and I'm just like, I want it bad. Like, I'm not playing, you know?
And then you even produce a web series?
Yeah, I just released a web series today, actually.
And where can they find that on Luis Galilei?
Yeah, I can find that on my Instagram, or just go to YouTube and put Graham Ave web series.
Okay. And what's Graham Ave? What's the Graham Ave web series?
A Graham Ave web series is basically like me and a bunch of other comics got together and we were like, let's shoot a sketch, right? Because we talk about like social media and stuff, and everyone's like, oh, these social media comedians are like not as funny as us, and I'm like, all right, let's put our money where our mouth is, shoot like a quick sketch, and let's see what we do.
That's good to hear. We're gonna put our money where our mouth is. And how did it turn out? Did it turn out as well as you hoped?
It evolved into a series. It went from, let's shoot a 2-minute funny thing to, let's actually do this. It was all shot on an iPhone.
Okay.
All New York comics.
Okay, and is it what's the hook to Graham Avenue? Is this kind of where you thought of the idea or where you grew up?
Oh, Graham Avenue is where we shot it.
Okay.
So my boy Michael Pomeroy, and I think he's going to be on the podcast.
Yeah, we're hoping to have him. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Pomeroy. He lives on Graham Ave. So.
Oh, cool. And so, kind of, is it a bunch of comics, and what are the comics getting into? Are they staying in kind of the persona that we're stand-up comics and we're just going to show you what a day in the life is like, or are you kind of delving into your personal lives as stand-up comics?
It's more of like we're sort of like ourselves. It's kind of like a mixture of, I like to say, like Always Sunny and like a typical like roommate sitcom.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a mixture of those two. So we're not talking about doing stand-up or anything.
Oh, okay.
But we're all just kind of going through like regular people problems and or like stupid shit that we go through in life.
And so is it male stand-ups, or do you have kind of, you know?
We have male and female stand-ups.
Oh, cool. Because, it would be like, if you're like, we're just a bunch of dudes, stand-up comics doing the normal stand-up, getting laid constantly. It might have less of appeal than if you have a good mix. And is it Grand or Graham?
Graham, Graham.
Okay, Graham, because there's also the Grand Avenue in Williamsburg. That would be a totally different experience because it's gentrified up the ass.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, everything in Williamsburg is gentrified.
Yeah, and so is Graham Avenue gentrified? Like, what kind of socioeconomic things are you guys talking about? Is it actually honest that, maybe comics don't get a lot of money, so you guys are having certain money issues? And I guess that's why you have to have 85 roommates, right?
Well, I mean, in real life, yes, we have those problems, but this is more about like funny personal problems. It's not necessarily Graham Ave itself, though. In real life, it's like still very Puerto Rican on one side, but still like new gentrified on the other side.
Oh, that's nice.
So, but like this is more just like we're just a bunch of guys. There's 4 like main characters, which are all dudes, yeah. But then we have a bunch of female comics come in. But yeah, we're just kind of talking about like dating, going through dating problems, going through stupid you just thoughts that you have, and just kind of we let the joke like drive the tool that we use. So like we even have like a Chaplin type scene where like there's no sound.
Oh, cool.
And it's black and white, and we just really had fun because we have a bunch of like film buffs that help create it. So they're like really into, and I don't really know much about film, but they're
You're like, it looks like an interesting shot, guys.
Yeah,
Good job. I'll
yeah.
take it. And then like, is any of this stuff being shot? I guess because it's an iPhone, you guys can bring it out onto Graham Avenue, because it feels like I would want to see that, not just interiors. Are you guys kind of bringing your camera with you outside?
We got tracking shots.
So those are some of the artsy angles that the film buffs are talking about. They're like, let's do a tracking shot. How the hell do you track? Do you just walk with an iPhone?
That was me. I literally had, so you can buy this like attachment for your iPhone where it's like 2 handles and it comes with a mic on it. So the sound is better, right? Because the iPhones are very, very good for filming like just quick things, right? Yeah. And I was holding it and literally backpedaling.
That's cool. And it stayed steady and the sound was great.
Stayed steady, sound was good. Obviously, you know, there's some bumps in the road because I'm trying not to fall on my ass, but literally, like, the people you saw acting in it were holding the camera at one point, or, you know.
But I just love, like, Scorsese must be rolling over in his later day grave, knowing that you guys can just walk backwards and call that tracking, but as long as the technology allows it to come off as tracking, then who cares if you're on some sort of professional vehicle or just walking backwards on Graham Avenue?
Right, and also it's like, you know, it's poking fun. It's poking fun at the whole thing, you know? Like everyone wants to create something, but no one actually does it because they're like, it has to be perfect. Yeah. And they're like, bro, we don't got the fucking funds to make anything perfect. Why not just try it?
And then is that kind of, you know, the whole discussion of let's do it even though it's not perfect, is it making its way onto the screen? Like in the series, are you guys discussing, you know, perfect is the enemy of good, let's go ahead and just shoot the thing? Like, are any of the characters on Graham Avenue web series, are they actually talking about shooting the series? Or is that kind of just left off?
It's left out a bit, but we have an episode where we're shooting a sketch within this series. Yeah,
that makes it interesting.
And it's all about like your friend that's always late. And we battle with this thing that his perception of being present and my perception in the episode is that it's being on time, and he's like, no, being present is being on time, but he made it to the end, and it was like he was 3 hours late. So it's like we do touch on like some things like that. But
that's cool, because that's a really big problem in New York City, because not everybody understands the trains, and they just don't give themselves enough. Like some early people leave, you know, like they're like, I'm coming from Brooklyn, and some people are early, and I'm like, thank God you're just an early person. And some people are coming from Queens and they're late, and you're just like, you're just a late person.
Well, comics don't understand time at all. They have no perception of it.
And I guess that doesn't really matter too much unless you are going all in like Luis Galilei, because you are producing all these shows, you're producing web series, and kind of you're also doing your own spots on all these shows.
Yeah, yeah. I have like a massive passion for hosting. Okay. And
why is that?
I don't know. It's just it's more connection than a regular set for me.
Yeah, because it's kind of crowd work, and it's interacting with other comics and being present in the moment.
1000%. Like I get to almost build the funny with the crowd, and obviously I'll add in some of my own stuff, but only if it feels right, you know. Yeah. And you know, I'll do my own spots sometimes, like a set if I like really want to work on something, but I just love that building because. Right. I mean, all of us that produce shows, unless you're producing a very, very well promoted show with people with credits on it, that you have credits, because the credits on the bill do not matter, no matter what anyone says.
Okay. It's good to hear, right?
Yeah. No, they literally don't matter. But if like, for example, there's some guys that, you know, all the producers have credits. So it's like, all right, that's how you get in Time Out. That's how you get on Skin all these newsletters, because it's like, there's a credit behind the production, so that means that the product must be good.
Oh, good.
But if you don't have that, then it's about building a community around that little show that you have with 20 plus people that may come.
And that's how you do it, by hosting.
Yeah,
that's why, like, every time they go to one of your weekly or bi-weekly shows, it's going to be a Luis Galilei product where they're like, I know at the very least he's going to keep it funny. Like, even if one of the comics fall off, they're having a bad day, like, you're going to keep it hyped and going forward.
Exactly. And like the people that I partner with that are my co-producers or my co-hosts, like, you know, we always make sure that the audience will end up getting to know us.
Yeah, they'll get to know you better than some of the comics on the show, because you're appearing before and after every comic, right?
Yeah, and then it's like, you know, when when you book a bill that it's so funny how people leave a show and they're like, oh my God, everyone was funny. And you're like, why is that weird though?
Yeah, it should be
And
that way, right?
yeah, and they're like, well, usually, I don't know, there's like one or two that's funny, but here everyone's funny. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, a lot of people get caught up in producing shows and putting their friends on and like trying to book, the people that are on Comedy Central only. And it's like, man, just put people up that are funny.
If like those Comedy Central people are testing their material, it's not going to be a good spot.
Right, and I've had situations where like big comics have come to my shows and they're trying shit out and they don't bomb because you can't bomb when you're that good.
Right.
Well, you definitely can bomb when you're that good. Let me backtrack that. But they try new shit and it doesn't necessarily hit, and then you got another, whatever quote unquote open mic comic that comes in and he's giving you his best.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, they just murdered. And this person, that's why credits don't matter.
Right.
Unless they're like introducing you on a radio show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or unless they are making sure to, if they're a friend of yours and they're like, I'll bring my A game.
Yeah.
Out of the, and how many, and I guess as a host, how many minutes are you getting total as opposed to people on your bill? Like, is everybody getting 5 or 10, and then in the aggregate, are you getting like 20? Like,
well, I think in the aggregate maybe I get 20, but like after my host said, I don't do too much.
Okay, but like the people on the show, are they also getting 20, or are they getting 5 or 10?
No, they're getting 10.
Okay.
Most people on my shows, and then on one of my monthly shows, we give them 15.
Okay.
So like I want people to stretch. But I like to do 8 to 10 minutes up top.
Okay.
And then after that, it's basically like a 3-5 word riff off of the last joke that they had, and then next comic up.
And then like when you're riffing on what just happened, are you also equipped to kind of riff on what's about to happen? Like, have you seen these comics enough, or don't you want to step on what they're about to talk about? And also, you might not know. You might not know what they're actually going to talk about that set.
I have an unrealistic filter on how I book people, and it's like I want to see you in person. So like I will literally, like, people have hit me up and they're like, can I do your show? Which is another thing, how people hit you up to do your show is ridiculous. I don't understand how comics also don't have communication.
And so how should they do it? Should they come to one of your weekly shows and kind of see what it is to make sure they fit in and then talk to you afterwards?
I think that's a beautiful way to put it, but I don't think anyone has time to do that shit.
Okay, so what's the realistic way to do that in a way that you think is pimp?
I think the realistic way is to, one, know what show you're trying to get on.
Okay.
Because they'll just hit me up and they'll be like, I would love to do your show, and I'm like, I run multiple, so which one do you want to do? Then if you're like a super credited comic, obviously throw all the credits at my face. That way I'm like, okay, I get it. You're good. Yeah. But then like, you shoot me a tape, like, I'm not a fucking booker, Like, what am I going to do, measure your laughs per minute? Like, it's bullshit. Right. Like, I just, if there's an opportunity, obviously, if you're coming from outside, I rather you have someone that's, like, vouching for you.
Okay.
So, like, if you have someone and they're like, oh, like, I've had, like, a good friend of mine, Shadi Diaz, she came out of North Carolina doing comedy.
Oh, okay.
And now there's a lot of there's like a migration of North Carolina comics coming into New York.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, and she'll be like, yo, this person, XYZ person, they're really good.
I love that.
So
I think I've even seen some of those posts. I think I have Facebook friends with her, and recently she vouched for somebody in North Carolina. So you put that person on.
Yeah, so I'll consider them more. And this is weird talking like this because it feels like I'm like some sort of gatekeeper, but
to 3 shows you are, so that's good enough for a lot of comics.
But right? I'm like, I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to if I'm not booked, I'm going to a show. I'm at open mics, so it's like I've booked people off of open mics and I've booked people off of shows. Like,
that's cool.
The whole goal as a comic, in my opinion, is to become undeniably funny, right? And if for some reason I have a weird perception of you and you're up there and you kill in front of me, I'm like, that person's going to be on my show. Yeah. Like, I don't care what my ego says.
And that's why some open mics will matter, because there could be somebody like Luis Galilei in the audience booking 3 shows at a time. And the other way to do it is through one of his friends. They're going to vouch for him, like Michael Pomeroy. Yeah. And the way they figure out who you're hanging out with is through your Graham Avenue web series, I would think.
Yeah.
You look at kind of who's starring on that and being like, I'm going to get in good with these people because they're going to get me with Luis Galilei.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then, again, your shows are the 3 shows. One is in a speakeasy, and that is every other week. And the other couple shows?
So that's Pilas Comedies at a speakeasy. That's every other week. Then you got Rainy Day on Wednesdays, East Village weekly.
And that's upstairs?
That's upstairs, okay. Solas Bar. And then you got The Bean, which is called Hive Calf Comedy, which is, honestly, you should just come and see it because it's a workout room.
And it's coffee shop too, so
It's a
you
coffee
can
shop.
kind of be a sober person and check out the comedy.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
That
And
makes it easier.
then I have another monthly show at Rise Radio, which is on Graham Ave.
Okay.
Then I have another, I guess it's bi-weekly or every other week. It's called Risa Comedy at the Bowery Electric. So I produce 5 shows. Yeah.
And so how they're going to find this is via your social. They're going to find the
Yeah.
Graham Avenue web series via your Instagram, which is Luis Galilei, or is that
Luis Galilei, that's it.
across all social platforms? That's how good of a comic he is. Okay, Luis Galilei, thank you so much.
Thank you.